Good evening. Tesco will pay its first regular dividend since 2014 after reporting its best results since that year. Full-year sales rose by 1.3% to £57.5 billion, with underlying operating profits up by 28% to £1.64 billion. Those figures don't yet include sales from the cash and carry chain Booker, which Tesco bought for £4 billion in March. Well, Dave McCarthy is head of consumer retail in Europe at HSBC, and he joins me now. Dave, great to see you. Now, is it too simplistic to say this is all down to just cutting thousands of middle management jobs and then recycling it in price cuts?
Yes, there's a lot more to it than that. What you've said is a key part of it, but there's been massive improvements in the overall offer, the overall service. So we've seen improvements in the quality of the business, improvements in the perception of value for money, improvements in the service levels. And the results presentation today, Tesco provided plenty of data on consumer research showing how their perception and the positive feel about the company has improved massively over the last few years.
Is it a case of them benefiting from the market growing per se, or are they actually winning market share again?
Tesco said that they are now winning market share in food again, because you have to look underneath the numbers to see what's really going on. One of the things they've been doing is de-emphasising some of their non-food offer in areas where they don't make much money. But within the core food offer and in core fresh foods, they are outperforming the market. Now, one of the features of food retailing is it's an inelastic demand. We tend not to eat more calories from one year to the next. We may eat more expensive or cheaper calories, flex around that, but basically there isn't much change in demand overall. So for one company to win, another has to lose.
So who do we think they're winning share from?
Well, Tesco are saying they're winning share from most of the other members of the Big Four. That's Sainsbury's, Morrisons and Asda. They're unlikely to be winning share back from the discounters at the moment because the discounters are opening substantial numbers of stores. But on a like-for-like basis, Tesco will be giving them a run for their money, i.e. take out the impact of the new stores, and Tesco will be competing very well.
Really significant. I mean, obviously everyone knows that the local stores have been going pretty well all these years. The problem child were the big box hypermarkets, and they've even picked up growth there, haven't they?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And in part that's to do with the non-food offer, and the big box stores were built before the internet really had taken off. But now a lot of trade goes onto the internet, and we're seeing a lot of high street retailers struggle. That's been true of Tesco's non-food business, and of course it comes back to what I've just said, that they are focused on food and driving their food sales, de-emphasising some of the non-food sales. And if you get a good food offer, people will still go to those big stores.
Now, clearly they've patched up the core UK food business, which was the priority. How are they doing overseas? I mean, it's not plain sailing there, is it? It's
not plain sailing, and part of the problem is some of the overseas businesses have got some very large stores that don't actually take a lot of money. When we look at that, there's been a good performance in these figures, both in Europe and in Asia. In Asia, they are doing similar things to the UK, where they're de-emphasising some of their business that they don't make any money on. So they've reduced the amount of wholesaling that they do, and they're focused on being more competitive on the core food offer. And that's why, on the surface, the sales appear to have fallen, not really on an underlying basis to the consumer, but the profitability is getting better.
And all this, of course, before Booker. I mean, how transformational is that going to be?
Transformational is an overused word, but this really is a transformational business. The new data that Tesco gave today, it was hidden in the presentation, is that they expect the sales to grow from this by 2.5 billion over the next several years. Now, Tesco talked about 200 million of buying synergies, but said the real reason for this is not the synergies, it's about growing for the future. We expected 500 million of synergies, many of which would go back into improving price and offer, and that would drive the extra sales. But 2.5 billion of extra sales really is exceptional, and given that has to come from someone else, that's great news for Tesco. It might be bad news for the competition.
Fear for the others. All right, Dave McCarthy, always good to have you on the show. Thanks for joining me.
Pleasure.